Today we're reviewing the daily check of the self-contained breathing apparatus. We start by checking the harness, so we're going to go through each part individually, looking at all the straps, make sure that there's no major cuts or tears, that they work properly through the buckles. I go through each strap individually. Waist belt straps. Check to make sure that the Cobra buckle functions appropriately. Alright. Next, we're just going to do a quick inspection of all the hoses. Make sure there's no obvious cuts or tears, damage, or otherwise. The cylinder retention system functions properly, keeps the cylinder secure. Inspect the cylinder itself, make sure there's no holes or significant damage. We want to find the hydrostatic test date or the date of manufacture, make sure one is within 5 years. This one was inspected hydrostatically 4 years ago, so it is appropriate. While we have the cylinder out, we can look at the snap change connection, make sure there's no major damage, free of debris and dirt, and that the cylinder goes in and out properly in that connection. Nice and secure. Check to see what our cylinder pressure reads. This one's reading about 5,200 psi right now. We'll check back in on that in a few minutes. Our CGI connection, free of damage and capped. And we check our universal air connection on the side. We want to look to make sure that this connection is free of any obvious damage, that the cap is intact, that the cap has the pin in there, and readjust that. The last thing, as part of our harness check, we're going to look at our EBSS system. So make sure that both snaps are functional. Then we inspect the hose, make sure there's no damage, cuts, tears, or otherwise. We're going to look at our fittings, check to see that there's O-rings present and that the connections work freely. Cap that back up, put it away. Moving on now, we're going to check our face piece. We want to look over the lens. We're looking for any crazing, gouges, distortions, major cracks, or damage. Seeing that there are no major cracks or damage, move on, we'll check the harness assembly on the face piece itself. All the anchors are connected and rotate freely. Same thing with our straps. We want to check to make sure that they pull through nice and easy. No major tears in our harness. Now we'll check the inside seal and the nose cup. Make sure that it's free of cracks and damage. The nose cup is properly installed and properly seated. No missing parts. Let me check our regulator. Make sure that the gaskets are properly installed. Check that our air saver switch and our purge valve rotate freely. No obvious damage at the connection point. The last thing we're going to do is look at our regulator hose. No tears, cuts, obvious abrasions. We want to look inside to see that the 3 pins are present and that our connection works with the SCBA pack. Good connection. Now we'll start checking the electric functionality of the pack. First thing we do is hold down our yellow button. We're going to do that to check the battery. Alright, we're going to have to stop because we should have. Checking the battery can be done by pressing and holding the yellow button on your gauge, and you can see right here we had a green LED that showed up. That shows that our battery is good. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to test the pressurized system. So we'll start by turning on our cylinder. We want to listen for the vibe alert and our pass device to tell us that the pack alert has turned on. Another thing we do is check our cylinder gauge and make sure that it matches our gauge on our control console. Once we've done that, we're going to wait about 20 seconds. That's going to allow the pack alert to go into pre-alert. First thing we do is reset by motion to check the functionality of the motion. We're going to wait another 20 seconds for the pre-alert to go on. With this pre-alert, we check by resetting with the yellow button, and that ensures that the electric system is working. Another thing we're going to check is our heads-up display lights. So we can see inside our Scott mask regulator, we have heads-up display lights. 2 greens indicates that the cylinder is full down to 3/4. When the cylinder hits 3/4, it'll show 1 green light down to half. From half to 1/3 is going to show a yellow light, and 1/3 or lower is going to be a red light in the heads-up display, as well as the vibe alert. The last thing we're waiting for during this electric check is for the pass device to go into full activation. And we reset that by 2 clicks on the yellow button on the side. We're also going to check to make sure that the red button activates the pass device immediately. Now we're going to check to see how the facepiece is doing with respect to flowing air. Check to make sure that your facepiece works by inhaling to open the regulator up. Then check the functionality of your purge valve. And last, ensure that the positive pressure is working by pulling the mask slightly away from your face and allowing free flow of air. Now we shut the cylinder off. And we're going to test our low air alarms and vibe alert. So slowly let the purge valve out until about 1/3. This time our vibe alert's going off to show that it's working. Once all the air is out of the system, make sure our air saver is closed and our purge valve is closed, and we can turn off the pass device with 2 clicks of the yellow button. And that concludes the daily SCBA check.